What is Jimmy Butler's legacy? Is he tarnishing it by asking out from the Heat? I personally don't think he is. He's already a top 5 player in the Heat's franchise history. His accolades go on and on. Eastern Conference Finals MVP, 2 times Eastern Conference champion, 2 times Finals appearance, 3 times Eastern Conference Finals appearance, 2 times NBA All-Star, 3 All-NBA teams, an All-NBA defensive team, and the most 40-point games in the playoffs in franchise history. I feel like when we look back, we're only really going to look back at the Heat era for Jimmy Butler because that's where he really turned into a playoff riser. Jimmy's interesting because he's not an amazing regular season player, so his playoff rising seems more impressive than a guy like Chris Paul who's consistent in the playoffs. But since Jimmy maybe has higher highs, it seems like he's a better playoff player. If you ask a casual fan who's a better playoff player, I think a lot of them would say Jimmy Butler, even though that's not even close to the truth. His legacy has been built off these Heat Finals runs. His resume isn't that impressive compared to other Hall of Famers, but when newer fans go and look back through NBA history, they're going to see these finals runs by Jimmy. He's always been kind of in this gray area because he's never really been a top 7 or 8 player in the league. He's more like top 10, but he also is one of the best playoff players, but he doesn't get criticized for his playoff downfalls like a top 7 guy would because he's not as good in the regular season. So he's kind of built this reputation as an amazing playoff player, like in that Rockets series in 2018, like in that series against the Raptors in 2019, like that series where he was outscored by Bryn Forbes against the Bucks. Nevertheless, he's had some of the most memorable playoff moments in my lifetime, like that 56-point game. That's the most I've ever cheered for a non-Rockets player in a playoff game because I couldn't believe what was happening. If I had to compare him to an NBA legend, I think he's going to be remembered like Reggie Miller. Wasn't the greatest regular season player, was still a very good regular season player, but wasn't that elite tier, but really took his game to the next level in the playoffs. I think when it's all said and done, we're not really going to remember the trade requests. We don't really bring up Kobe's trade request when we're talking about Kobe. Do we really care about Kawhi's trade request? Do we really care about Carmelo's trade request, Shaq's trade request? And ultimately, I'm sure Heat fans will have an overall favorable opinion about him because of how much he's done for the franchise, despite not bringing a championship. As to where I think he'll end up, I honestly have no idea. It could be any team at this point, and I'm tired of hearing about it, so I hope he gets traded soon.